Ethan, Maya, and Connor had been planning the Pine Hollow camping trip for weeks. They wanted adventure, stories around the fire, and a weekend far from the city. Their parents had warned them to stay on marked trails, but none of them cared. The drive through winding country roads was fun. The sun hung low, painting the trees in golden light. As they approached the forest entrance, a faded sign read, "Pine Hollow Forest, campers beware after dark." Ethan laughed. "See? Nothing to worry about. Just an old warning," he said, parking the car on a small gravel clearing. Connor adjusted his backpack. Still, creepy place. No signal, no shops, just us and trees. Maya smiled, though uneasily. "Come on, it'll be fine. We'll have fun. We always do." They carried their gear into the clearing, deciding this spot was perfect. A small stream ran nearby, and the ground was surprisingly flat. Birds chirped faintly in the distance. Ethan began setting up the tent while Connor gathered firewood. Maya unpacked the food and laid it on a tarp. They laughed at their clumsy attempts to pitch the tent correctly, joking and teasing. But as shadows lengthened, a strange silence settled around them. Even the birds seemed to vanish. The wind slowed to almost nothing. The forest, once welcoming, felt different, darker, waiting. "Did you hear that?" Maya asked suddenly. "What?" Connor said. A faint whisper floated through the trees. They froze. It sounded almost like a voice, soft and broken, but indistinct. "Probably just the wind," Maya said, forcing a smile. Ethan nodded, though unease settled in his chest. The trio started a fire. Sparks flew, casting shadows that danced on the tree trunks. They roasted marshmallows and told ghost stories to laugh away the creeping tension. But the whispers returned. Clearer this time. Words that shouldn't have existed in the forest. Their own voices. "Ethan, help me." "Maya, don't leave me." "Connor." The three of them went silent. Ethan's flashlight beam trembled as he scanned the tree line. Shapes shifted between the trunks. They weren't quite human, limbs bent at impossible angles, faces smooth, almost blank, but somehow familiar. "Stay inside the tent," Ethan whispered. Connor hesitated, but curiosity gnawed at him. He stepped toward the edge of the clearing. A branch snapped. Shadows lunged toward him, but when he froze, they melted back into the trees. Maya grabbed Ethan's arm. "I don't like this. We shouldn't be here." The fire crackled, but it felt slower than the darkness that pressed against the edge of the clearing. Something inside the forest had noticed them. Something alive. Night fell fast, unnaturally fast. The sky disappeared behind the dense canopy. Even the fire seemed weak against the encroaching black. The whispers came again, louder, more urgent. Ethan tried to convince himself it was their imagination, that it was just the forest playing tricks. But when he glanced at Connor and Maya, their faces were pale, fear creeping into their eyes. Hours passed in silence, broken only by the crackling fire. Then came the screaming. Not human screams. Low, rattling, twisting, pain-filled, bone-shaking wails that seemed to come from beneath the ground. The tent trembled as if the forest itself had grown legs and leaned in. Ethan grabbed his flashlight. Its beam revealed dozens of faces pressed against the trunks, twisted in fear and pain. Their eyes, Ethan, Maya, Connor, stared back at them. Connor screamed and froze. "It's copying us," Ethan said. "It remembers everyone who's ever camped here." From the darkness, shadows began to detach from the trees. They flowed silently, crawling across the ground like smoke but with weight. The whispers became voices, calling names, begging, mocking. Ethan grabbed Maya's hand. Connor tried to run but vanished behind a tree. The fire went out. Darkness swallowed them. Heartbeats thundered. Roots shot from the soil, wrapping around their legs, hands, even their torsos. Pain spread. Fear spread faster. Ethan realized the forest knew them. It remembered their laughter, their careless steps, even minor pranks from school years. Every moment, every memory was stored in the trees, waiting for trespassers. They struggled to free themselves, but the shadows were patient, relentless. The forest did not tire, did not hesitate. It had waited long for new campers, and now it had them. Morning never came. The forest swallowed time. Ethan and Maya broke free from the roots, though their bodies ached. They ran blindly through twisted paths that rearranged themselves with every step. The trees leaned in, bending, stretching. Roots became cages. Every path looked the same. Every shadow seemed alive. "Where is Connor?" Maya whispered. I don't know," Ethan said, fear choking his voice. "We have to keep moving." They stumbled into a small clearing. In its center stood dozens of campers, frozen. Half tree, half human. Faces twisted in silent, eternal screams. Some were new. Some had been here for years. "They never left," Maya said. "And now, they want us to stay." Roots burst from the ground, aiming for them. Ethan grabbed Maya, dragging her. The shadows surged forward. They ran again. Everything hurt. Every step a struggle. The forest was alive, aware, patient. It didn't need to chase quickly. It could wait, bend, twist, and trap them. Suddenly, a shape moved ahead. Not running, gliding. A tall figure, gray, elongated limbs, face eerily smooth. It carried the voice of a child crying for help. "It's copying," Ethan realized. "It doesn't want to kill us, yet. It wants to scare us, to break us." The whispers surrounded them, repeating memories, mistakes, moments of guilt. Every memory was a trap. Every emotion was a weapon. Ethan and Maya didn't stop. Branches snapped, roots curled, shadows lunged. Still, they ran. Finally, they reached a larger clearing. In the center stood a circle of massive trees, roots interwoven like a cage. Inside were dozens of campers from years past, their faces twisted in fear. Some had bodies fused with trees. Ethan and Maya slowed, catching their breath. They realized what the forest had done. It didn't kill immediately. It collected. It preserved fear, pain, terror, and it copied, creating new shadows to replace them when it was time. The whispers were louder here, clear. Voices from their own memories, arguments, pranks, broken promises, moments of selfishness. The forest knew them better than they knew themselves. Maya screamed as a shadow reached for her. Roots erupted from the ground, wrapping around her legs. Ethan tried to pull her free. Pain shot through him. His arms were stretched, cracking, skin splitting as bark started to push through. Connor appeared, but he wasn't the same. Gray skin, long limbs, eyes hollow. He tried to grab them, silent, mindless. "No!" Ethan yelled, grabbing Maya. They pushed him back. The forest shifted again, as if amused. The circle tightened. Roots lifted off the ground. Shadows formed walls. The forest was closing in. Time no longer mattered. Fear was the forest's weapon. Maya cried, "What do we do?" Ethan realized there was no escape, only running, only surviving for as long as possible. They ran blindly, trying to find the edge of the forest. Every path twisted, every tree moved. Shadows called their names, taunting, whispering memories, begging for attention. Suddenly they tripped. The ground exploded with roots pulling them down. Pain shot through them, skin cracked, arms stretched. Their voices merged with the forest's whispers. Ethan struggled to scream, but no sound came. Maya's hands were gone in the roots. The forest consumed Connor entirely. Hours, days, maybe years passed. They no longer counted. Bodies hardened, stretched, and merged with wood. Eyes remained briefly human, then slowly dimmed. Eventually, silence returned. The circle of trees in the clearing stood still. Campers, frozen, waiting for the next trespassers. Shadows blended with the trees. Roots became paths. When hikers discovered the clearing, tents were gone. The fire was gone. No footprints. Just the forest, watching, waiting. And sometimes at night the wind carries whispers. Familiar voices crying for help. Screams that never end. Because once Pine Hollow Forest touches you, it never lets go.